Hey, what's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to be making a video on S&P, Bitcoin, Solana, and Dogecoin. Maybe I'll put in like Tesla, a little something extra at the end, but those are the main ones I'm going to be going over today. So just getting right into it. I'm going to start off with Bitcoin here on the 4-hour chart. And what I had here last night and past couple days, and I was analyzing charts, I had a bull flag here that seemed to be forming on the 4-hour chart. But earlier today, we did break under, and it seems like we bearishly retested it as of right now. And as we're talking, we're potentially bouncing off a key support here, which was a previous high from October 21st. Okay, so if we do find support here at this specific level and get closures back inside this bull flag pattern, I would say that that could be um, a failure of uh, of of a breakdown, right? Like the Bears weren't able to follow through, and so the Bulls price action got back inside the pattern, the bullish pattern, and likely you're gonna test the opposite side of it and break out to the upside. So if that were to happen, there's an area of confluence with these spider lines, okay, that come in at 79 to 80K. All right. And the bigger bull flag here that was formed from mid-October to just a couple of days ago when we broke out of it, that there was also confluence with that with the measure move up to $79,000. Okay, so let me delete that line off of there. I'll still, I guess we can delete that too just to clean it up. But that's the short-term bull flag potential here with key areas of support. Just go to a daily uh, time frame here too, just a little bit more clear. A previous high from October 21st, okay? And then we also have a key level here at $68,431. That could also be tested as support if Bitcoin were to come down there. And if Bitcoin were to get down to 65,000, I do believe that would have to hold, or we could be talking a bit more about the bearish scenarios, okay? Coming down to the low 60s and 50s again if Bitcoin were to break under 65. I don't believe Bitcoin is going to be testing 65, but it very well could. Okay. Uh, but those are the key areas to watch here. 65K being the line in the sand, and really where I do expect Bitcoin to be bouncing here. Within now and the next couple of days, early November, it's going to be here at 69.5K to 68.5K, just about. Okay. And going back to this chart, I've talked about it before. It's a 105-day cycle. Bitcoin is currently still following it. I do believe we're going to be pumping into the end of November and maybe some sort of correction into January. Okay. And maybe for part of December, we could still get like a little rally. But I do think come January 13th, price action will be in a short term little downtrend. And then from January 13th or mid January, we pump into March of 2025. Let's see how that plays out. Nonetheless, these are valid. It's a valid cycle, in my opinion, a 105-day cycle here on Bitcoin. And we're currently pumping into November, as it seems. My last Bitcoin chart here, a lot going on here. Just some extra confluence, okay? There's a key area here at 70K. If we can get closures above there, that's very nice, okay? But the bigger thing here is that these arcs you see here inside this square, each time you break above one, there's a very high likelihood you're going to test the next arc. Now the next arc comes in around 75 all the way up to 77,000. Okay, new all-time highs. I do believe Bitcoin is on its way to test new all-time high 75, 76K More likely than not, I do believe 7980K, which also comes in at this area of the circle. Okay. And when Bitcoin does start trading outside of this circle, which again comes around end of November, I do believe a short-term trend shift. No crazy downside though. That's not what I'm calling for. It's a short-term trend shift when that time comes. But nonetheless, Bitcoin is very bullish. Okay. You go in a short-term time frame, hourly chart, whatever the fuck, you're going to be shitting your pants because you see red candles. It's okay. Zoom out a little bit and you see that the trend is up and the key supports are just being tested. It's quite normal. Now I'll go into Solana. So Solana here tested this trend line of resistance at 182, 183. I talked about it in my last videos and even post on X that this level was like a magnet. Solana, in my opinion, the line in the sand comes in at 162.45. Solana needs to get higher time frame closures above this level. If Solana does not get higher time frame closures above this level, you know, the doors are open to test the 150s and even 130s again. Okay. Solana needs to hold 162. As long as it does, I do believe we will see the 200s. Okay. Solana looks pretty fine to me because we're still above 162. So as long as Solana holds it, we're Gucci. Very simple. Daily chart on Jupiter, a beta play to Solana. As long as Jupiter is holding 88 cents, which is this orange box, the bottom of it, I do believe Jupiter will hit $1.23 to $1.32. Just as simple as Solana there. I do think that Jupiter will eventually break this little trend line it has here, and when it does, we go to 123 to 132. Okay, it's also following a 49-day cycle. I do believe this previous cycle that it was in, the previous 49-day cycle from August 26th to October 14th, this was a trend change when it broke out here on this key date, also a trend line. Okay, I do think that was a bigger trend shift, and now we'll be going into a rally into all-time highs here in the coming weeks and months, right? I do think it will last quite some time. There will be volatility in between, okay? But I do think that was a trend shift, kind of like a little wave count. I'm not really, and I don't know much anything about Elliott waves, but just kind of like a first wave. This was a second wave here, right? Where the first wave we rallied pretty good. Short-term accumulation, then rallied, made a couple X's, and then there was the dump and sideways reaccumulation, boring people out. People think it's dead, not coming back. And now with this trend shift that I think happened October 14th, we're going into sort of the third wave, right? Something like that. And obviously, if we do go into new all-time highs, there's going to be volatility in between. It's not going to be a straight line up. But line in the sand, 88 cents. We hold 88 cents. We're looking for higher on Jupiter. Simple as that. Dogecoin. So the interesting thing here on Dogecoin, if we go to the 4-hour chart and go back to the 4-hour chart on Bitcoin, well, Dogecoin's actually holding up better than Bitcoin. And why is that? That's because Doge versus BTC is in an uptrend. Okay. And I made a post about this on my X account this past week, past couple of days. And right here, October 1st is a key date because we're getting a green dot here for this month, and we're likely going to get a monthly closure confirmation of that monthly green dot. And so the average percentage gain off a monthly green dot is 420% in 44 days. If this plays out, this could take us into mid-November, or if anything, end of November, early December. But nonetheless, the 420% gain takes us to 0.0000874. I don't know how to say that fucking number, but pretty much from where price is at currently, that's another 277% gain on Doge versus BTC. So that is why Doge is holding up better than Bitcoin. Okay, that's a good sign. Okay, it's holding this bull flag, it's testing key supports. Doge can come down more. It can break under this bull flag just like Bitcoin did, which is fine, as long as it holds keys area supports. There's a 50% here at 15.3. Okay, there's also 236 at 14. If we go to the daily chart on Dogecoin, as long as Doge is holding above 12,782, it's perfectly fine and bullish. I do think here very soon, within the next, maybe this weekend or next week, I do think Doge will be just over 20 cents, in my opinion. Not financial advice, none of this is financial advice, okay? But I've been talking about Doge for what, 7, 8 fucking months now, and I mean, this thing follows the cycle, the crypto cycle, to a fucking T, but no one seems to really understand or talk about it. Uh, I've made a couple videos in the past couple months, and even like 6, 7 months ago now, maybe the first one. You can go rewatch those. I've made posts about it on my X. You can go look at those if you would like. Uh, Dogecoin is a perfect representation of the crypto cycle, 4-year cycle. And if the 4-year cycle doesn't play out, Doge ain't playing out. So the more likely scenario is that it does play out. It goes in tandem. It goes hand in hand, and Doge does make new all-time highs, in my opinion, within the next 6 months, or now probably like 5 to 4 months. But we'll see. Time will tell. Nonetheless, short term here on the daily chart and even weekly, the trend is up now. Trend has shifted, and in my opinion, dips are. I mean, obviously had been for fucking buying, but even more so now, dips are for buying. Now, Doji, this is a meme coin on Doge blockchain. It's a DRC20. Doji is essentially the Ordi, but for Dogecoin. Okay, 21 million supply. And market structure has shifted on this, right? We had a basic structure, and we're starting to break out. We've had a bigger breakout this higher time frame trend line. Now we're pulling back a little bit here, right, with the rest of the market. But as long as we hold, I mean, really 123, I do think that we're going to be seeing 340s and higher on this coin. And if Dogecoin does indeed go for bigger breakouts, right, to new all-time highs in the coming months, this coin here is likely going to follow and make even more substantial gains than Doge, just because it's a much smaller market cap. Okay, this is a bit of alpha here. It's DRC20 Doji. You go to doggy.market and you can go here, Doji. It's at a 34 mil market cap, 21 million supply. As I said, it's basically the Ordi, but for Dogecoin. Okay. Now, enough of the degeneracy here. We'll go to S&P 500. This is just my Tesla chart here. Potentially in a range. If it breaks this range, it can get all the way up to 360. Short and simple there. S&P. So I made a post about this past week, talking about potentially a bearish case scenario that I could see playing out, and it is once S&P really started to close under this trend line on RSI and even momentum ways as well, and price action, right? It goes hand in hand. that we could see a correction. And so far, we have seen from the all-time high almost a 2.9% correction, just about almost 3%. I do think it could come down to just a bit lower as it got an engulfing candle through support. And it could test, 3.5% down drawdown, even all the way down to a 5% or 6.5%. Now that sounds pretty scary for stock market people when crypto people experience that on a fucking hourly basis and we're just fine. Um, but that would be a-okay. As long as S&P 500 is holding above 539, this weekly higher low, anything above there is room for another weekly higher low and likely the trend to continue to new all-time highs in time. So short term here, I have been a little bit bearish on S&P, and that's fine. It's playing out. But longer term here, going into, the rest of this year and 2025, I do think S&P 500 does continue to make new all-time highs. Obviously, volatility will be in there. Okay, it's normal. We're looking for a weekly higher low now. Okay, to form. Could take a little bit of time. That's a fine. And I guess we'll get back into crypto a little bit. Total 3 weekly market cap chart. Total 3 market cap weekly chart. We have a cup and handle here. This does look pretty good as the measured target is up to the previous all-time highs. If that's the case, all coins will do very well. Now, I want to talk about this chart here, others. This is a monthly time frame. So, what I found interesting when I was analyzing this chart is it's in a 609-day cycle, and these colored boxes here, they're in key specific time zones, right? I guess you could say seasonality. So in the yellow, we have April to December. Okay, in the second yellow, also April to December, April to December again. Okay, it's going to be the same, 609-day cycle. So if we're following the cycle as we're currently in the April to December time period, we should start to see others' dominance start to pump here very soon, as it's been testing a key trend line of support. And we're also testing, or we're also getting close to the apex of this 609-day cycle, right? This is what the orange box is for, the apex. If you also look at market cipher, it looks like it wants to start curving up and potentially form a monthly green dot. If that does start to happen, we're already going to start to see a bounce here if that monthly green dot indeed does start to come in. But if you look here, in the first cycle here, 2014 for it, we had consolidation through it, right? Through the apex. The pump really came in before it, and then we consolidated through it. And towards after the apex, we started to dump into December. Okay, the end of the 609 days. Okay, then we've rallied into the December, August time period, right? Obviously, volatility in between. If we go in the second cycle here for April to December, we've rallied into and also through the apex, and then getting closer to the end of this 609-day cycle going into the December, we dumped again into it and rallied out of it into the December, August time period. Now, what's happening again here? Well, we're having a drawdown period at the beginning of this April to December seasonality period, and we're approaching the apex. I do think the more likely scenario here is that getting closer to this apex time period between December 2024 and April 2025, we're going to have a rally in others' dominance. And just after this apex is done, so getting into like March, May, and the summertime of next year, I do think it's a time to be cautious as there could be a drawdown period into the end of the next year, which the December time period, the end of the 609-day cycle, just like the past two cycles here. And we've rallied from there, just like we have done in the previous 609-day cycles here on others. Just a very interesting thing I found when analyzing this chart during the weekend. Okay. We can go look at Bitcoin dominance really quick. So weekly chart here, we're approaching a golden pocket area, which is heavy resistance as well with this trend line. I do think that if I pull up market cipher here, this money flow pointed up so thickly like that, um, it tells me Bitcoin dominance does want higher than where it's at now. But short term, there could very well be some short term drawdowns. Like if I pull up the percent tool here and just do price action. So short term drawdown, say it does come up a tiny bit to like 60.5%. I think it could have like a 5% move down. If that's the case, that's going to be nice for alts still, but especially the stronger ones, Solana, Dogecoin, and whatever other stronger coins, altcoins are out there. That'll be pretty good for those, even though they're already outperforming pretty well, right? But that would just be an added boost to some altcoins. Um, Now, just as I was saying before, if that does play out and that wasn't the top, this money flow is just an indication of that because it's so thick and still pointed up that Bitcoin dominance could indeed go higher, maybe towards like 66%. But we're in this red crucial zone, which is a heavy resistance zone. Um, so Bitcoin dominance could top here. All right, I'm saying it could go up or fucking go down. Well, that's fucking trading and investing for you guys. What the fuck? I don't have a goddamn crystal ball. But this is a time to really pay attention and position yourself well because it's inevitable that Bitcoin dominance does top out and start to have a drawdown period as it's done every other cycle. So it's either going to happen inside this red box or if it doesn't, just a little bit higher out of it. All right, those are the two scenarios. So I think the best case here of what people could be doing with their portfolios is buying altcoins. And honestly should have been already throughout this 7 month fucking period. Um, so if you're doing it now, you're a bit late, but it's better late than never. We still have some decent amount of time to go. Um, so yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. I'm going to leave it there with that. And what a time to be alive. Exciting next 5, 6 months, maybe even 12 months as well for us bullas. But short-term volatility is always valid and okay. Bring it. Consolidation is okay. So, yeah, guys. Peace out. Thank you. See you in the next one.